mean money.
That's right.
I got it. Erica mentioned it to me, so I put it down. Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Commissioner, would you come and take your seats, please? Get the meeting started. The meeting for the Caddo Parish Commission regular session for April 6, 2023 at 3:30 is called to order. Mr. Clerk.
All right. Commissioner Hopkins. Here. Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young. Here. Commissioner Burrell.
Here.
Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Gage-Watts.
President.
Commissioner Cothran. Here. Commissioner Atkins. Here. Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Lazarus. Here. And Commissioner Epperson.
Here.
All right. You have 8 of 12 members present. That does constitute a quorum.
Okay, at this time, we will ask Commissioner Lazarus to lead us in invocation and Commissioner Hopkins pledge of allegiance, please. Would you please stand?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for the many blessings that you give us. Lord, lead, guide, and direct us as we conduct the business of the parish. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Would you please join me by saluting the flag? Those that are military or former or veterans, please use a hand brow salute if you feel necessary. Also, we want to remember our POWs and MIAs today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Lazarus and Commissioner Hopkins. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to agenda additions. I am not aware of any agenda additions today unless you have any, Mr. President.
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, then we'll move forward to citizens' comments.
I'm on to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We do have some requests to speak. I'm sorry.
Okay, Commissioner Gage-Watts.
Yes, Mr. President, I move up the special resolutions.
Okay. All the special resolutions?
The ones for presentation.
Sorry.
The links, is there any others here for presentation?
I think those are the only ones I'm aware of that are here in person for the presentation.
Okay, the links.
That's the links, and that is which one?
That is 8-5.
Okay, it's been moved and moved. Okay. Got to punch that little thing. Oh, Commissioner Epperson.
I have an adjustment to the agenda I'd like to make also.
Okay, well, we'll do that after this. Okay. It's been moved by Commissioner Gage-Watts and seconded by Commissioner Young. Let's vote.
All right, that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition, and 4 absent. Though it looks like I'm counting, it's showing 2 commissioners as absent who I see here, and I think logged their votes, so that may be incorrect. Commissioner Chavez, did you vote on that one?
It won't let me, but it shows that I'm logged in, so they need to reset it.
Okay.
Can we go by a voice vote and move on?
We could, but we still gonna have to do this.
Oh, I think I'm sorry, I think it'll reset after this vote, and I think it just didn't have you logged in before the vote tally came on. So, did you want to register a voice vote? Okay, we'll add that as a yay.
You said you
And-
had two.
Okay, that motion carries with unanimous passage.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson.
Mr. President, I'd like to move item number 23 on the agenda up above item 21.
23.
Citizens comment for late arrivals up in place of item 21. And
Second. Oh, second, there we go.
Okay.
Still got it.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Epperson and seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. Okay, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent. So that brings us now to the consideration of the special resolution for the Shreveport chapter of the Links Incorporated. And Commissioner Gage Watts, I believe this was
So moved.
yours.
Been moved by Commissioner Gage Watts. This thing is still slow.
Yes.
And seconded by Commissioner, okay. All right, we're on here. Moved by Commissioner Carlton and seconded by Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Gage Watts? I mean, that's what it says, yeah, so I can go by what I
It's
see.
good. We ready?
Okay?
All right.
There it is. Okay, and that motion passes unanimously with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
All right.
Would you like me to go ahead and begin reading the
Yes.
special resolution as the party from the Links makes their way to the podium? Okay. The resolution of recognition for the Links Incorporated reads, whereas the Caddo Parish Commission is pleased to acknowledge events of significance that occur in the community and to recognize the organizations and individuals who are now and for a long time have been in the forefront of positive and worthy activities and deeds that accrue to the benefit of all. And whereas such an organization is the Links Incorporated Shreveport chapter, which was chartered on April 15th, 1973, and will soon celebrate its 50th anniversary of dedicated and distinguished service. And whereas the Links Incorporated is an international not-for-profit corporation established in 1946, it is one of the nation's oldest and largest volunteer service organizations, committed to enriching, sustaining, and ensuring the culture and economic survival of African Americans and other people of African ancestry. And whereas the Shreveport chapter of the Links Incorporated was chartered on April 15, 1973, by Dr. Anna S. Julian, National Chapter Establishment Chairperson, there were 11 distinguished Shreveport natives who answered the call to charter the chapter. The goal of the Links Incorporated includes promoting civic, cultural, and educational activities throughout the community, and the Shreveport chapter has remained true to the purpose. Many of the current programs are implemented in schools within the Caddo Parish school system. And whereas the Links have adopted both Caddo Heights Elementary and Bethune Oak Park Elementary to be the beneficiaries of programs assisting with topics such as healthy eating, proper exercise, career exploration, gardening, even establishing a garden at Caddo Heights, and etiquette. And whereas the Links charitable contributions go beyond the school walls to include donating needed supplies to the hygiene closet at LSUS, delivering toiletries to community nursing facilities, and hosting holiday parties for the elderly and infirmed, as well as participating in voter registration drives and establishing health fairs in various communities. And whereas the Shreveport chapter of the Links supported efforts to support families in Louisiana who were impacted by various storms and hurricanes, and also embraces the Links' international activity of purchasing school books, children's clothing, and even toilets for Haitian communities. And whereas the Shreveport chapter of the Links has supported several efforts to, I just read that paragraph. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission and legal session convened that it does hereby proclaim and recognize April 15th, 2023 as the Links Incorporated Day. in Caddo Parish, in treating all citizens of the parish to join in this observance, and in honoring the Links Incorporated Shreveport chapter and its members.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon to all of you. We thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Martha Henderson. I'm chapter president. And you see, I don't go anywhere by myself. My Link sisters came with me. But we're all linked in friendship and we're connected in service. We are throughout Shreveport doing everything we can to improve our community or assist our community in any way that we can. We thank you so much for this proclamation. We thank you for your support as we celebrate 50 years of Linkdom. And our national president is coming to be our keynote speaker at our celebration, which will be held on April 22nd. Again, thank you so much on behalf of the Shreveport chapter of the Links Incorporated.
Again,
I want you all to know that you covered everything. I just loved it when I was listening to it. I'm sorry.
oh, yes, I just wanted to commend you all on your 50th year. There are so many people now that don't give up their time and efforts for the welfare of others, and Links is a perfect example of extending that help and for people who are in need. So again, congratulations.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Okay.
Motion to move back into regular session.
Second.
Okay, it's been Commissioner Epperson. He has.
Just a point of information, we had voted to move all of the resolutions up whether they were in-house or for presentation or not, because if so, I wanted to comment relative to two that I don't need to read. We'll just make comments on at this time before we go back.
All right, did we move them all up? Or we
I think
only
the
moved
motion was
one?
actually just for those to be presented right now.
Okay.
So we would take the others up in just a moment.
Okay.
Okay. All right, that takes us where?
To citizens' comments, where citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning are asked to fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return it to either myself or the president. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, and I know that we have received at least 3 requests.
We have 3 requests from our citizens, and the first one up is Ms. Jennifer McKay. Speak on 63, I believe ordinance 6321.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer McKay, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the town attorney for the town of Greenwood. I'm here to express opposition to the ordinance 6321 of 2023, which is the amendment to the ordinance that was passed in 2020, appropriating funds for water improvements. Town of Greenwood has a number of concerns, but all I would like to express today is that we have concerns about the legality of it and believe that it is a government overreach, and would like you to consider that very carefully in terms of dictating terms to the money that you appropriate to the towns within the parish. We also would like you to consider seeking an Attorney General opinion on the ordinance because of these concerns that we have about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next person up is Ms. Michelle Perkins.
Good afternoon. Hi, it's Michelle Perkins. I live out in Keithville on Keith Road. There's been some, I'm sure y'all got my emails. I have some paperwork I'd like to give out to the commission before I leave. Here's the issue that's going on. The resolution or the MPC board that recently recommend 4-2 that y'all bring to before the commission. I filed in district court because there's some confusion with the MPC. We have some really issues with the MPC board. I think not only me, but the other residents feel that the way Mr. Clark is running it, y'all need to address it. And it needs to be addressed, because when you call up there, they're rude. When Mr. Clark, when I wanted to file an appeal, Ms. Johnson, the reason it is, Ms. Johnson wants to open up and rezone a church out there on Keith Road in Keithville. It's at the end of Keith Road, Jerseyville, and Colquitt. Mr. Clark's office, I praised him during the MPC meeting. After the meeting, I watched the meeting again. They insulted us. They insulted us and mocked the residents. And I guess maybe the administration, I don't know if the city handles it or the parish, but there's a lot of confusion and y'all have a lot of issues there. I didn't know until I didn't get a notice. They're violating their own ordinances. All I wanted to simply do is file an appeal. I know how to use protocol, but what is going on at the MPC board is some major issues, because I couldn't get an answer. I had to call the Attorney General's office, and then still couldn't get an answer. I talked to 2 attorneys with the parish. One of your websites says I can file an appeal, and then the other one says I can't. It says I have to wait before it goes to commission. But here's the thing: there's only a 10-day limit. Tomorrow's the 10-day limit. It's Good Friday. Nothing would be open. So if I hadn't have filed the appeal when I did, but it's a real simple question: where do you file the appeal? I mean, I shouldn't have to call the Attorney General's office. I know how to use the chain of command. I've been in the military, and we can do something professional and have protocol. Mr. Clark is anything but. I praised him during the meeting, but I tell you what, the way they're running that operation is more like a Gestapo and then what's going on in this parish, because it's not just me, the other residents. And I feel that Mr. Lazarus, I'll vote for a chimp out at Chimp Haven before I ever represent. He had my vote, and I told him, because you know what? I met with him days before this, and nobody ever disclosed that property was going to possibly come up for rezoning. And y'all we weren't properly notified. Your own ordinance says there's supposed to be signs up. Guess what? There's not. We're violating not only parish ordinance, we're violating state ordinance and federal. And I know where Fannin Street's at, because you're violating our rights, and then you're going to mock me because I'm a Christian? I mean, you watch the video, zoom in. Mr. Clark didn't know the video was on, and I praised him. But I didn't realize he was a backstabber and then couldn't tell the residents what was going on. And his whole administration, y'all really need to look at this. This is not fair. I understand Ms. Johnson has a right to petition to have the property rezoned, but as residents out there, we have a right. We have a right to know.
Ms. Perkins, you're going to have to get an extension of time. Can we get
Okay,
how close are you to finish?
I'm done. I just think not only this is in district court, so we will hear it once that's done, but here's the thing. Overall, I don't feel like Mr. Lazarus represents us in Keithville, so overall, I ask that the commissions take a good look at what's going on with the MPC board, because it's not fair to the residents. And you know what? It's not just me, because I was in that meeting for 4 hours. Everybody before me had the same complaint. They're not notifying people properly. You're violating your rights. There should be a sign out there right now. Nobody in Keithville knew it was even going up for rezoning. Okay. Thank you. I would like to hand this out. Can we just hand that? All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hand that to the clerk, please. I'm going to ask Attorney Bernstein, or if he would get with her, because we can't address your issue.
Okay. I'll talk to him on the phone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That takes us next to Mr. Poetic X.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. State your name for the record, please.
Poetic X. First, I would like to thank each of you that played a role in me becoming a Caddo Parish Poet Laureate. In becoming Poet Laureate, one of the requirements was to create a poetry-based initiative to implement poetry throughout Caddo Parish. In 2021, I put a poem on it, project, which was approved by the commissioners. The goal of the project is to produce a mural consisting of poetry and art from a local artist to be placed in each district in Caddo Parish. The murals will highlight important causes, events, and community movements that reflect unity, peace, art, and bring awareness to the power of poetry. The first mural completed for Put a Poem on It was Across the Sea in partnership with artist Cadavian Baylor during last year's Juneteenth celebration. The overall message of the mural was to promote absolute equality and is located on the corner of Milam and Edward Street. The fiscal agent for the project is Shreveport Regional Arts Council. I've submitted a few locations, but was told the sites were not Caddo Parish owned or donated properties. In a recent email sent to each commission, I gave an update as to the status of the project. At the moment, I have been in communication with Chimp Haven for about 6 months and been asked to produce an artwork there as one of the sites. The underpass, just past I-20 exit towards the Cooper Road, is another site recommended, as well as Walter B. Jacobs Park. I've also spoken with Commissioner Epperson about a location on the Pines Road, which I've written, for a poem which I've written in honor of veterans. I'm here basically asking for any insight, expertise, and professionalism to assist me in moving this project forward. If there are any sites in your district that you may suggest would be ideal for Put a Poem on It, the suggested sites would be most certainly appreciated. Thanks. Oh, and I would like to, a part of me being Port Library was to present a presentation. If I could, I just wanted to read a brief poem out of my latest poetry book.
Sure.
Mr.
It's
President,
called-
I'm gonna move to extend 3 minutes.
Oh, we just did. Oh, about a minute.
Okay.
It's called Shreveport on My Mind.
Okay, hold on a second. By unanimous vote, 3 minutes? Okay. Go ahead on, Mr.
Shreveport on my mind. Heard about Shreveport long before I knew what Shreveport was. Heard it was the city where I stayed, and I believed it just because. I remember watching black and white TV with the fall antenna. Tuning into the news, we boogied to the blues, shouting out Shreveport, Louisiana. Cat Daddy kept the party going. Grown folk happy as they can be. I always seen Cedric Glover on TV. Little Union was right across the street from me. That's where I got baptized. Didn't know much about Christ, only that he could walk on water and that he paid the price. And I believe that just because. Much has changed with time. Long before I knew what Shreveport was, I had Shreveport on my mind. Thank you. I brought everybody a copy of my latest poetry book. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Although we could not address Mr. X here, but I did get the request about the poem or location, and I believe I addressed that to our secretary to see if there was any building in District 5, which I represent, that we could put the poem on. So I wanted to make sure that we know that we did recognize, Mr. X, that we did recognize that. And they are looking for locations. Okay, Mr. Clerk. Oh, wait until you get back.
Yeah.
While we're waiting, I wanted to also recognize one of our former commissioners, Mr. Lewis Johnson, who's out in the audience. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Now we are find ourselves at the visitors section where we don't have any scheduled visitors today. So if you'd like, we can move forward to adopting regular session minutes.
Okay, been moved by Commissioner Gage Watts and seconded by Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Gage Watts, anything?
No, sir.
Okay, let's vote.
Okay, and that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent. That brings us now to special resolutions, where we have obviously already adopted and presented 8.5, but you have a number of other special resolutions there today for consideration.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Jackson, is there?
I'd like to move to englobe all special resolutions.
Second.
Okay.
Global and adopt.
Been moved and second. We can vote?
Okay, and that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent.
Commissioner Carlson.
Yes, I would just like to speak in reference to the special resolution for the crew of the USS Louisiana. We know during the Navy Week, I talked to the chief of the boat there, and she recommended that we do this instead of recognizing each individual was here. And we need to keep in mind, I would like everyone to keep in mind that these young people doing what they get paid to do on a daily basis, and they're doing some things that probably cannot be talked about at this particular time, but again, just keep them in your prayers. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else on the special resolutions? If not, Mr. Clerk?
All right.
I don't,
Down speak.
yes, sir. Commissioner Epperson, I don't see you on here. Did you punch that little
I got
button there?
tapped. It said I'm number 2 to speak.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Mine didn't show me.
It's not on there. I'm glad it's not registering. But anyway, Commissioner Epperson.
I speak in reference to 8.3, special resolution on National County Government Month. Commissioner Watts was the author, and I'd like her to put me down as a co-author with it. And I'd also spoken with administration in your absence on Monday.
Thank you.
And hoping that we could do a press conference relative to Parish Government Month, which we recognize in Louisiana, as well as enhance that each commissioner is asked to have a student commissioner for a day.
Yes.
And if you and the administration and the communication department be amenable to that, I'd like for us to set that up. And of course, the day that we were going to recognize to bring our students for a day would be April the 20th, our second meeting in this month.
Yes.
Our agenda would be they come down around 9 or 9:30, tour the administrative building, tour the courthouse, registrar of voters, juvenile detention. We have lunch, and then they will come back and sit with us at the 3:30 p.m. meeting.
Great. Thank you.
If we could get together and work that out.
Sure will.
Okay.
Part of information on that, on these students, do you, how is that normally done? Do you go to the school and request for them to be absent on that day,
Right.
or do they do it, or just what?
The commissioner will contact the school from wherever they would like their student to be from. I suggest juniors or seniors with the period of time that we've been doing it. We go out to the schools and we meet with the students. The administration, the principal sits it up with the parents, let them know what's going on, and they are responsible for them from bringing them down to picking them up the same as it would if they were on a field trip. Mine are coming from Huntington.
Okay, for those who may not have a school that has juniors or seniors.
You can pick any school. I can recommend you some.
Oh, no, you don't have to, I know them all. I just,
I'm
I'm
talking for
just
anybody
saying
that
that some
knows.
districts, you don't have elementary school, middle school, like mine.
Well, we are the parish government, so all schools are
Caddo Parish.
Caddo Parish.
Caddo Parish School.
Okay.
All righty then.
Well, I have one more.
Yes,
The
sir.
other. Okay, I'd also like to speak on item 8.4, the Vietnam Veterans Honor Day Proclamation. For those of you that may not know, in 2012, President Barack Obama signed a presidential proclamation designating the period of time from November the 1st, 1955 to May 15th of 1975. Any person that served in any branch of the armed forces during the Vietnam era would be recognized with a lapel pin and a certificate from the president that's in office at that particular time. We know that the Vietnam War was a very contentious war. There were a lot of negative things about it. It sort of tore our states up. Many of our veterans that served within that period of time when they came home to denigration. They were heckled. It got to the point where we could not wear our uniforms in the airports and while we were transporting. So from 2012, when President Obama signed the proclamation, to November the 11th, Veterans Day of 2025, each year on March the 29th, any person that served in any branch of the military during those particular periods of time be recognized with that pin and a certificate from the current President of the United States recognizing them and honoring them for their service and welcoming them home. I think I had spoken with the administration, any of our employees that are veterans, we'd like for you to identify them. If they don't have theirs, let us know and we will present them to you. And also, the proclamation that was not read today, it'll be in your official proceedings. I will give a proclamation to the Shreveport VA Veterans Center located on Shreveport-Barksdale Highway under the direction of Mr. Vernon Williams. And also I will give a copy of it to be put up in Overton Brooks VA Medical Center under Director Richard Crockett. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Jackson.
Are we on communications or we just?
No, we on resolution.
Okay.
You want to go down to communications? You
I'm
want to
on
speak
for
when you
it.
get to communications? Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you. On item 8.8, the special resolution for National Autism Awareness Month, and 8.9, the Perfect Fit Autism Foundation, those will be presented at our next meeting.
Okay.
Commissioner Gage Watts, did you want this presented at the next work session or regular session?
Regular session. Thank you. That's it, Mr. President.
Okay. I'll just make mention also on the special resolution that we have for the foster grandparent program that is coming up. This is a very valuable organization, I believe, for those that are 50 and older that volunteer their time to support a lot of good work in the city, especially dealing with our young people. They read to them. Many of them are educated people, but you don't have to be. But they help them with their homework and other things. Matter of fact, I sat on this board probably for about 5 or 6 years, so it's a very, very good program. Just wanted to recognize them. Okay, with that, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to communiques and committee reports. And we also have in this section the administration response to information requests from commissioners. And I believe the administration does have a presentation today.
Okay, let's see. We'll just, well, you say administrative response, but I know Commissioner Jackson was on the board earlier. Commissioner Jackson, you want to go, or are you the administration?
It don't matter to me.
Administration?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Burrell and others, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We have a couple items today for you all.
Yes, sir.
I believe we had a request for information concerning NELEP. And today we have the Executive President, Mr. Justin Dixon, is here today to give you an update on NELEP's activities. And Justin, would you like to come forward, please?
Welcome, Justin. State your name for the record.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Thank you,
sir.
Commissioner. I'm Justin Dixon, President and CEO of North Louisiana Economic Partnership, and appreciate you having me here. Just want to do a quick update with what we're doing with NLEP. But before I do that, I want to thank you all. You know we chase a lot of projects. Sometimes we call you late at night asking for your support, and each and every one of you respond, and you give us what we need to be competitive. So thank you for that. And because of that, we have success. We have a couple of projects that are going on in the parish right now. I would urge you to take a look at them. One is the AEP Transmission Control Center that we announced in 2022. It's a $100 million CapEx investment going on in Resilient Tech Park. Drive out there. It's fascinating. It's going up. It's probably well over $100 million, just like every construction project is right now. But they are on pace to be opening up later on this year. And we're very excited about that. That along with Prolec GE, which had an expansion, as well as ACT. So we have some great things going on. We also have some site development going on. Some of you may be aware, NLEP submitted, we drew up legislation last year, submitted it through the legislature, excuse me. And we got $1 million to spend on site development just in our area. We actually got $8 million. We got $1 million for each of the 8 regionals. We finally got the rules promulgated 2 weeks ago. That's a little bit longer process than I was hoping. That should be finalized in this legislative session in June. and we'll have some money to make our sites more competitive. We've already met about getting an additional $1 million this year in this legislative session, and that looks like that's going to go well also. With those monies, we're going to further develop our sites to make them more competitive through engineering, design. And with that money, we actually have 4 sites in Caddo Parish that we're going to be focusing on making more competitive. That's at the port, a site that we're competing with a lot now, Shreveport Regional Airport, Resilient Technology Park, and also Ward 2 in North Caddo. So look for more information on that. We're real excited. We're also going to be doing 7 marketing videos on our industrial sites across the NLEP footprint. 4 of those 7 are in Caddo Parish. So we have engaged a marketing company to design these videos that we'll be putting on our new website, which hopefully will be rolling out pretty soon, and get out there and tell companies and site consultants, hey, we're in the game and we've got good sites, and we do have good sites. We also work on the workforce side, and my COO, Angie White, many of y'all know her. She lives and bleeds workforce. And one of the things she did this past year was Manufacturing Month, where we introduced high school age kids to manufacturing. We let them know it's not the dirty manufacturing of yesterday, it's well-paying jobs in well places. We sent 1,164 high school students through manufacturing organizations to let them know what opportunities were out there. Over 500 of them from Caddo Parish. So we're introducing tomorrow's workforce today. And then we also have ongoing projects, and you know how that is. We've got to code those in secrecy and whatnot, so I can't get deep into it. But we're working a lot of projects with both the port and with the Caddo IDB. I know you all support both of them, and we appreciate you doing that. When I came on board, one of the things I said is we had to go out there and make our own rain. We didn't want to wait for LED to bring projects to us because you might end up dying while you wait. I can tell you this year we've had 3 consultants that have pivoted and they're bringing projects directly to us versus going through the LED process. One such project, we were the only regional economic development group that got the project directly, and that's through the efforts of my team, not just me. But I appreciate you all's support. That's a quick overview of what's going on. If you have any questions, I'll try to ask them. If not, we'll continue on. Fantastic.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Epperson?
I'm down, not this.
Okay, Commissioner Young?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Dixon, for being here. I wanted to ask you for an update about the Amazon facility.
What, something going on?
I don't know. Is something going on?
You can ask Commissioner Jackson about it. We took a trip today through there. Amazon was in town. It is impressive with what's going on. I think everybody thinks it's a great big shell of a warehouse. Commissioner Burrell, you were there as well. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot yet to be going. So they're continuing through the process. You probably saw some of it in the news. They're still building it out. But they are recommitting their presence here. You know, they've had a little bit of change through problems and challenges with supply chain and some of the things that Amazon are going through. But they're still manufacturing it, still building it, still constructing it, and are still committed to come here with well-paying jobs.
So it's not open yet, is that correct?
No, it's still being constructed.
Okay.
It's still being constructed.
Do they have a date when they think it'll be finished?
They mentioned it in the news, I believe, in 2024 is what they're focusing on.
Okay.
So.
Is that significantly behind schedule, or is it what they told us originally, or close to it?
It's a little bit behind the original date, but it's all due to supply chain and some of the pivots that they've had to do.
Okay, and are they envisioning having it at the same capacity that we were all told before? or
Same
is it gonna
job
be
count
different?
they mentioned today would be around 1,000.
Okay, thank you.
So,
That's all.
good question.
Okay. My comment is that I did get a chance to go out there. That was the first time I've seen the facility, and it is just totally overwhelming. There was so much space. I think they say it's 3.2 million square feet. That's a lot of concrete. And you're going to have to, in many cases, be physically fit to go over that thing because it's so big, and then it's 3 stories on top of that. So let me tell you, it was quite a task just to walk around there from place to place. The other thing was, it was all the technology that was involved in it. There's so much technology out there. I hope to see a marriage between Amazon as well as the school system to create a feeder for that facility because of the amount of technology and STEM knowledge that is out there that our school system as well as our colleges could benefit from. And we had a chance to talk to some of the people there about just that. So I'm looking forward for that to happen. I was very impressed. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Dixon, for the update. Thank you for the work that you're doing in our community to drive economics in the right direction. I have an Oak Farms building. It's the formerly Foremost in District 7.
Okay.
I want to know, has there been any interest in that building?
Not to my knowledge, but I'll have to look into it with my team and see that, and I can get back to you. But I have not at this
Okay.
point.
That has been on my agenda for quite some time, and I know that you and I have not had the opportunity to have a one-on-one about it. So I have a vast interest in making sure that we can do something in that area. It's a nice building. It used to employ a lot of people in Shreveport, and we need to bring those type of jobs back here as well.
I will certainly reach out to you. I'd love to sit down and talk to you about it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, back.
Not for him, Dr. Wilson.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Dr. Wilson?
Appreciate it, sir. Okay, Commissioners, also, someone requested some information on the library's policy regarding books and that they have on the shelves and stuff. So what we did, we obtained the policy from the library. This morning, Mr. Tuttle gave us the policy, and we mailed you all the 16-page document for your review at your pleasure. So I know he was here before, maybe a month ago, and talked about the same issue. So this time we thought it'd be appropriate to give you the policy and what that says regarding how they select books and so on and so forth. I just want to remind you all, we did make contact with the recipients of the broadband gumbo grants for our area, and they agreed to come before you all on April 17th to give you an update on their plan and what they will be executing under that grant.
Now, will that be both?
Yes, sir.
Grantees?
Yes, sir. Both
Okay, because we did get one, Comcast over there at the Chamber of Commerce. You know, we had an initial presentation by Comcast there.
Yes, sir.
But the other one, we don't even know anything about, CSC. I think
Yes,
it's called.
CSC. Well, both of them will be here on the April 17th to give everybody who may have missed the update at the chamber a update on what's going on and perhaps future plans beyond that grant. So they'll be here on the 17th.
Okay. You said both of them will be here?
Yes, sir. Both entities will be here on the 17th.
All right.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it for us, sir, unless y'all have something for me.
Commissioner Epperson?
Yes, sir. Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dixon was here, I think, at the request, I believe, while you were absent.
Yes,
I
sir.
had requested he to be here, so he showed his schedule.
Yes, that's
out
correct.
Today. I think the second part was a member of the IDB board, so Ms. Bryant, if you would, don't forget
Yes,
to
sir.
have someone from the IDB board
Yes.
come and give us a report also.
Yeah, we're
in the
still trying to
future.
work out the logistics.
Okay. And I saw on the news where I think Benton had a grand opening, a ribbon cutting, and a press conference about their new relationship with the IT infrastructure in Benton. Did you all see that? Oh yeah, they got their high-speed internet. AT&T people were there in the town of Benton. So I know they laying a lot of cable out in our area, and they have been very amenable to the citizens. I have a number of the individual that's in the area laying the cable in the event that any citizens have any problems. And we have had a few problems, and they're very responsive, even from the offices in Texas, as well as they got a regional person here out of Lafayette, and he's very responsive. So AT&T is really laying that fiber optic. So hopefully we'll be en route for the next go round. Thank you.
Point of information on it, you said AT&T. Now, AT&T wasn't one of the gumbo grantees.
No, sir, they're not. It's my understanding that there's going to be a second round of granting, and AT&T will more than likely be in the second group.
Okay, but since they didn't get the original gumbo grant, undoubtedly they must be laying it on their own.
That's
at this
correct.
point. Okay.
That's correct. That's
Look, I
correct.
got no problem with that. If they got the money
No,
to
I'm
do it, and
good.
get it in, let them do it.
Yeah.
And they are working aggressively over in West Shreveport, West Caddo Parish, all of them down Jefferson Page Road.
Yes.
So we don't care who get it or where they get the money, as long as they get it in.
We call that competition.
Yeah, building customer base.
Just getting ahead of the game. Okay, that takes us
Yes, sir. That's
to
conclude my report, sir.
Commissioner Young.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
And
I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna be down for communicating also.
Okay, all right.
Because this was addressing the administrator. I'm gonna tap again for communications.
That'll be fine. That'll be fine. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Wilson, I had a question relating to our zoning enforcement contractee, the MPC, and Director Clark. I would like to know a little bit about the situation that our citizen described when she came up to the podium. I believe her name is Michelle Perkins.
Yes, sir. Would you like to have Ms. Clark come
Yes,
forward?
please.
Ms. Clark, would you mind coming forward, sir, please, and give us an update on what's going on?
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us, I'm not really familiar with what's going on. Could you tell us what's going on in Keithville that Ms. Perkins is speaking to us about?
Sure. We had an application from I think they're selling the property of the old Graywood Baptist Church, and I've forgotten the latest church that was there. Redeemer. And they were proposing to do an antique shop, and they were to do sales once a month. And it went before, contrary to what you're being told, it went before the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission, the commission that you established to handle cases in the unincorporated areas of the parish in the 5-mile area as it's situated now. Some of the citizens were under the impression that based on their decision to recommend approval to you, that they wanted to appeal that decision. And we've tried to explain to them, and the parish attorney's office has tried to explain to them that this was a rezoning application, and all rezoning applications, whether in the city or the parish, come to the city council or the parish commission for final action. That board only makes recommendations to you. That has not been able to be accepted by the group of citizens out there, that there will be a day before you when they would be able to come and express their concerns, their dislikes, or whatever they have. And due to the fact that they are not accepting the process that in place in parish government, the MPC is taking some unfair criticisms. We've done exactly what we do with every case. We provided all of the answers and all the responses to them. There are two sides. We were here 3 or 4 hours listening to the persons in support and listening to the persons that were in opposition. And based on those presentations, the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission made a recommendation. The Metropolitan Planning Commission had nothing to do other than to provide the technical assistance that you all contracted, the parish administration contracted with us to do. We provided research, we provided a staff report, we briefed the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission, we provided everything that they asked us for and provided any other additional information that the citizens or that board needed. Unfortunately, as you all know, unfortunately, periodically, the word Metropolitan Planning Commission is a dirty word, and it gets blown totally out of proportion. But we acted very professionally. There were some problems with some interactions between a citizen. We have addressed that. And we still stand by to provide any additional information that the speaker here today is interested in obtaining. I've been in touch with Commissioner Lazarus, and I've shared with Commissioner Lazarus that whatever is needed, we stand by to provide that information for him and for this body. And that's all we can do. If it's being refused, there's nothing else that we can do to, provide services to those citizens. We did notify at the request and approval of Commissioner Epperson, we extended the notification area to 1,500 feet. Sometimes 1,500 feet in the parish and where there are large tracts of land may not get everybody. That's another thing that's misunderstood, that we don't have to notify everybody in the free world. We just have to stay in those parameters that you all have established for us to notify. We've done that. We had a neighborhood participation plan meeting. We notified all the citizens. There was a sign placed on the day of the hearing. I drove out to Carpet Road. There was a sign that I noticed on Carpet Road. So we've done everything. Just for your information, we've done everything that we were required to do. Sometimes decisions go in directions that are unacceptable and somebody has to be blamed. We are well accustomed to being blamed, but I just wanted to reassure you that we still act with dignity, respect, and honor as we establish land use policies in the parish and the city.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I just have one more question. So the citizen who commented gave us this document, and it describes things that I think she believes will be sold on this site, and they include firearms and vapor products that look like they contain some kind of cannabis. Is that something that appeared in the record during the parish zoning meeting?
It is my understanding Ms. Johnson, who's the applicant, has a vape shop that's located somewhere else. And based on the fact that she has a vape shop, the accusations were that this would turn into a vape shop. She did say that these will be, in many instances, estate sales, and in estate sales that there may be guns as part of the estate that would be sold at these sales, but she would not be opening up a full-blown gun store.
And did she address directly the claim that whether she would be selling vape stuff or not?
She, if I remember correctly, and
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Point of order.
isn't this issue coming before us? So aren't we kind of putting the cart before the horse before we even get the case? If we're gonna sit here and run through it now?
I appreciate the opportunity because some unfair accusations have been.
That's my last question.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that we're not getting in a sort of.
You're saying that we're gonna rehash it later?
That's what it sounds. That's what I thought.
The matter has to, the recommendation has to come before you all for adoption before any zoning can be changed. So all of these things will be discussed when it's placed on the agenda for adoption.
I just wanted to make sure that we're not getting into any issues of kind of opening up the situation before it actually gets to the parish commission, and that's not a sort of legality issue or anything like that.
Well, let me ask,
whatever.
okay. Commissioner Jackson, let me ask now, do you care to close it out and we do it then, or do you want to continue?
Well, that's my last
really
question.
redundant.
If Mr. Clark would answer it, then I'll be done.
Okay.
If I may, I don't think that I'm actually outlining the case. I'm just responding to the accusations that have been made against my department, and I think that I should defend my department when these type of accusations are made against it. I don't remember if she actually said that she would be selling vape products or cannabis products. The application was just for estate sales.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That takes us to Mr. Epperson, unless I.
Yes, so this communiques and committee reports still?
We're still on the administration, unless, if we are finished there, we can go to communiques.
If I could just
I'm sorry.
briefly, just for the record, on that last item, we did receive that this week, and it is placed on your agenda for introduction on the 17th during your work session, to be introduced on the 20th for a final vote on May 4th, just for reference.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Upon yesterday, I think at 1:00 p.m., we had a Natural Resources Committee meeting. And in my opinion, it was basically one issue oriented, and that was about noise. Many of you that's been here for some time and that's been here since the inception of drilling, starting with the Haynesville Shale around 2007 or 2008, you're familiar with what we've gone through up to this point in time. And of course, fracking is a new process that was in its infancy back in that era. Very little used, and possibly it was used, but it was in areas where it was not high density population. So therefore, there are a number of issues that has arisen, which this body did address in a resolution on February the 15th, 2022 at 2:40 p.m. Filed within the clerk's office. And these are issues that came from constituents not only from one commission district, they came from all over the parish. Oftentimes people will make a complaint, or they don't know who to complain about. So this body had some good common sense issues that we passed a resolution on, and I would like to enter it into the record, which we submitted to the proper authorities in Baton Rouge. I think the Office of Conservation has jurisdiction totally over the oil and gas drilling, and Louisiana Natural Resources, or whatever it is. But we made these broad-based concerns, which were common sense, and to this date, basically, personally, I have not seen any direct correspondence from those entities that were in place addressing them. So I want to put it officially in the record, whereas my constituents and other constituents who appear to not have a voice and may not be listened to will know when they can go back and they can archive this meeting today, or they can read the minutes and the transcripts, and they can see that we are trying to do what we can do to mitigate those circumstances. Number one, wellheads should be placed a minimum of 1,000 to 1,500 feet from all areas of the property lines and the property upon which a well is drilled. 2, all horizontal drilling pads shall be required to have sound suppression systems installed. 3, all entrance roads to drilling sites shall be overlaid with mitigating products as needed to eliminate dust. Number 4, no fracking or noise generating activity shall be allowed between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. near organized subdivisions within 2 miles of a drill site. 5, drilling companies shall meet with residents within the community surrounding the drilling site prior to commencing drilling operations and inform citizens of what to expect during drilling activities. 6, all transmission, distribution pipelines, compressor sites, relief valves located near residential neighborhoods shall be prominently identified and labeled with product contents. 7, emergency phone numbers for drilling companies shall be highly visible and posted at the entrance of all drilling sites. Phone lines shall be staffed with personnel to monitor all calls in real time at all times. 8, drilling companies that are authorized and permitted for their operations in Caddo Parish shall contact the appropriate designated parish department and provide the following information: name of the drilling company, location of the well site, name of well site, address of home office, contact phone number at well site, contact phone number at home office, projected date of start drilling, projected date to end drilling. 9, all trucks that are supplying resources to support the drilling operations shall display the proper DOTD codes or names of the items they are transporting. This includes solids, liquids, wastewater, drilling fluid, machine and vehicle maintenance fluids. 10, all drillers shall be required to present a restorative plan for trees and shrubs and natural habitat for animals that have been displaced because of clearing for roads and drill pad sites. The drilling companies must begin implementation of such plans within 90 days after drilling activity ends at that well site. 11, drilling companies that are authorized and permitted for their operations in Caddo Parish shall post a $100,000 bond to mitigate any claims by citizens against the drilling company and shall agree to settle all such claims via arbitration. Arbitrators shall be chosen on a rotating basis from a list of certified arbitrators within the parish of Caddo. 12, upon completion of drilling activity on the well site, drilling companies shall install seismometers in strategic location around the well site to record readings and monitor it for a period of 2 years. Basic, plain common sense issues that a number of our constituents in the entire parish of Caddo had registered that has gone on deaf ears. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll just start out by thanking facilities for their support last week. I don't know if Maurice is here, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Maurice, for setting up the event at Sussex for our home ownership, our regional home ownership expo. Great event. Well over 200 plus folks came out to learn, and several got pre-qualified. So it's a great asset to our city. And again, thanks, Maurice, for having the team come through, being there Thursday and Friday to help with that support and provide that support. I did get an opportunity today to tour the Amazon facility. I do understand now what is taking so long, particularly with the supply and demand challenges that have existed since long before COVID-19 shut our economy down. One of the things I will say is that every aspect or every facet of that building is wired in some kind of way, in some kind of capacity, and so it's not your typical lay a concrete foundation, put 4 walls up and a roof, and put a sprinkler suppression system up. It is truly a building that is equipped. I have, and Commissioner Burrell alluded to it, I've been in conversations, even though that the date has been pushed back. We do have a commitment from Amazon because I know that I understand the challenges that are beyond our control and beyond their control with regard to supply chain issues. But how can we show the Amazon footprint leading up to the opening? And one of the things that we have identified is technical training and workforce development. And so talking with the superintendent, talking with Dr. Vincent, is how can we work within, and I want to be specific here, is how can we work within the community Amazon is situated in, the North Shreveport corridor, where you have about 4 or 5 K-12 schools there to benefit from their Future Engineers program. And so working to put together a curriculum for that so that we're not trying to rush to get folks ready when it opens. So there's an opportunity now. I see these delays at this point as an opportunity for us to get our workforce ready to meet the demand of what they need to hire up and scale up. So it was a very good conversation. We'll continue to have those conversations with Amazon around technical training and workforce development. But I do want the community to know that there is still a commitment to come. There's still a commitment to those 1,000 jobs, and that if you ever get a chance to walk that building, you will truly understand why these delays continue to happen. There's a floor on there where there's absolutely nothing, but hopefully in the next month it'll be full of robots and equipment. And it was just truly a breathtaking sight. I think the mayor started limping at one time. We walked so much. So It's a plus for our community, and I want to thank everybody for their support in doing that. Dr. Wilson and Erica was there as well as Crystal. So you have a lot of witnesses that it's not, somebody said it was a fake building, a prop building. It's not a prop building. There are people in there working. And I do think that maybe we can also, there was some conversation also about local contracting opportunities, and so they're committed to that. It was good to see a local vendor who provided the lunch today as well. So things are still looking up as far as Amazon is concerned, and I think we'll have a TIF committee meeting somewhere. I did send an email over asking about I'm told that they paid the full amount of their property taxes this year. So that should have, if I read the legislation, I understand that we can talk offline about that, about their contribution to the TIF, Amazon TIF district. But that's it for me, Mr. President. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. The housing meetings. I sent over a request for us to put together. I would like to have something to give to. We're gonna take, okay. Because I'll be out the first half of next week, so if I can get something that I can share out with those communities so that they'll know to be able to come over there, I would like to encourage their participation on those days. And I think we also added Highland to that group, so we might want to put one together for John Paul as well. But I just don't want us to miss out. I know how parochial neighborhoods can be, and so if it's not up the street, they may feel like it's not for them to be there. So, but I do want to encourage them to get there. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to comment on or follow up on Commissioner Epperson's comments on the Natural Resources Committee meeting. I thought it went quite well, actually, and I appreciate Commissioner Young working to get this issue addressed for his constituents. Commissioner Epperson's right. The meeting did primarily focus on noise issues because that is the paramount issue right now that members of District 8 are struggling with. So we learned several things. Sorry, District 4, pardon me. There are several things. The actual drilling rig is actually located in Bossier Parish, not Caddo Parish. It's on the west side of the river, but as you all know, the parish lines get kind of meanders. They meander through that area. So that means that actually Bossier Parish noise ordinances will apply instead of Caddo Parish noise ordinances. We're hopeful that that will actually favorably impact the noise levels, reduce the noise levels, or force some reduction of noise levels, because the Bossier Parish noise ordinances are more current than the Caddo Parish noise ordinances. Our Caddo Parish noise ordinances were developed in the early days of the Haynesville Shale, and they were designed mostly around compressor noises, suppressing compressor noises, whereas the current noise issues are more tied to frac turbine noises, which have different frequencies and different wavelengths. So therefore, the suppressor equipment doesn't always work as effectively. So we had a very nice conversation with Patrick Jackson from the Bossier side, and we're going to do some knowledge sharing, and Caddo is going to update our ordinances to be more effective towards the current equipment that's in use. And I was glad to know that Lyoga was in, the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association was working in conjunction with Bossier Parish to develop those ordinances, and there were Lyoga representatives and oil and gas representatives in the room at the Natural Resources Committee meeting, and they felt like they could work with that. So it seems like everybody is moving towards a common goal of reducing the burden of oil and gas drilling on the citizens of Caddo. So again, thank you, Commissioner Young, for putting that together. I think that's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jones.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to get some clarity on details for Commissioner for a date. Is there a limit on how many students that we can invite?
I invited 3.
Yeah.
Because some commission didn't participate.
Okay. So if you're not gonna invite someone, please let me know. So I have several students who are interested. They're all seniors, so I want to try to give them the opportunity to come hang out that day. So if you're not gonna invite somebody, just let me know offline. And they needed to be here for 9 that morning, Commissioner Epps?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay. Commissioner Lazarus.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to comment about Ms. Perkins' comments at the beginning of this meeting. Anytime you take a position, somebody's not going to like it. There's going to be somebody for it and somebody against it. And in this particular case, she doesn't like the position I've taken. It's a rezoning case that lady wants to open an estate sale auction business. Going to be open a couple days a month, according to her application. And if you go and research it and read the application, you can see what she's asking to do. But Ms. Perkins doesn't like that. And she claims that I don't represent my district. But the week before this zoning case came up, she called to sing my praises about having a ditch taken care of near her home.
Welcome to
If
politics.
you drive out there now, you'll see the ditch has been cleaned out. And she was very happy that I represented my district then. Every meeting when we have public comments, the clerk reads a statement that says, anybody that'd like to make a public comment on any issue other than zoning, you have 3 minutes. I knew she was not going to have nice things to say about me. But I didn't stop her. I didn't interrupt her. I let her speak. You know, everybody has an opinion, and even though this particular case went against our policy, I didn't stop her. Everybody's got a right to complain. The applicant, she says I don't represent my district. The applicant in this case lives in my district. I've had several emails and phone calls and messages in support of the applicant. Ms. Perkins and several others have been in disagreement with that. Everybody has an opinion, and I allowed her to have hers today. She's not going to be happy, and I can't prevent that. But on the other hand, the applicant has a right to open a business, make a living, do whatever. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Dr. Wilson, I don't see Ken or Tim out there, but I just want to give them a thank you because...
He's here.
Is he over there? Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
They, I got a message this morning at about 11 a.m. about a tree across the road in the South Camp, and I think last result was at 1542 that it was taken care of and just waiting on AEP to come re-put the power up. So thank you guys for the speedy recovery. Thanks, Doc. President, that's all.
All right, if there's no one else?
I'm on.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Watt.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just 2 quick announcements. On this weekend, weather permitting, Doug Williams Day will go on in Doug Williams Park in the Moortown area that is on Kennedy Drive, known as the Graveyard Park. This is their 32nd year, and they're also hosting a basketball tournament for the youth, and that will be on Saturday. It will begin actually on Friday evening at Bethune Oak Park School. And I also wanted to remind the citizens, with all of the inclement weather that we're having, that 211 is available. I know that we're having a lot of people who are reporting electricity that is power outages or limbs down. Just remember that you can always call 211 for additional information and assistance. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, anyone else before we move on?
If that is all the commissioners, I do have an announcement of a public meeting to share, and that is just giving notice is hereby given that at its meeting to be held on Thursday, May 4th, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. at its regular meeting place, the Government Plaza Chambers, 505 Travis Street in Shreveport, Louisiana. that the Caddo Commission, this cut off, the piece of paper cut off some of what I'm reading. That the Caddo Parish Commission plans to consider adopting a resolution ordering and calling an election to be held in Caddo Parish to authorize the levy of an ad valorem tax therein, and this is as recommended by the Juvenile Justice Citizens Advisory Committee and the Juvenile Justice Committee. That will go in print and be distributed to the members of the local delegation. And that then brings us to the President's report.
Okay, I don't have a report. I do have down in common needs. I'll just make my statements there and bypass this.
Okay.
At the end of the meeting.
Okay, so we do not have anything in sections 11 through 15 scheduled for today. So in the interest of time, I'll skip forward to section 16, ordinances for introduction by title, where you have a number of items. Those start with 16.1, introducing ordinance number 6318 of 2023. That's an ordinance to amend chapter 6 and enact 6.6-1. That's regarding temporary uses and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance 6319 of 2023, an ordinance amending the 2023 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to appropriate $60,000 to a grab-and-go feeding program through Caddo Parks and Recreation. The next item is 16.3, introducing ordinance 6320 of 2023. That's an ordinance to authorize and levy a fee for each service or transaction of the Shreveport Field Office of the Office of Motor Vehicles, Department of Public Safety and Corrections, in the amount of $4.50 per service or transaction, except for the procurement or renewal of motor vehicle registration. Authorizing the Caddo Parish Administrator to enter into an agreement with the Department of Public Safety and Corrections and otherwise provide with respect thereto. And the final item that is an ordinance for introduction today is ordinance 6321 of 2023. That's an ordinance amending ordinance 6014 of 2020, which provided an appropriation of $750,000 for the construction and improvement of Greenwood water lines and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item on your agenda following the introduction of ordinances is the adoption of work session minutes, which are attached.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Gage Watt, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Gage Watt.
No, sir. That's cool.
Okay, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. That brings us to resolutions, where you have a number of items to consider today. The first item is resolution number 15 of 2023, a resolution to urge and request the Louisiana Department of Conservation to consider noise and sound in granting drilling permits and to deny permits to noise violators and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jackson.
No, I think some folks are just moving a little slow, but I will just say I think this was put on by Commissioner Young, and I'll just say, as I said on Monday, I didn't look over and ask Dr. Wilson what his thoughts were on this. I didn't go call the parish legal department and ask for some legal interpretation on this. I took this as some folks have an issue in their district that's been brought to their attention, and this is their way to respond. And so I hope that the same courtesy is extended to others on this horseshoe, as we all have issues. It may not be oil and gas, it may not be crime, it may not be horses running free, or it may not be mobile homes, but everybody has an issue in their district that they're trying to work to show their constituents that they are being effective, Commissioner Lazarus. And so this is just one of those ways in which I see a commissioner working and giving them the respect to be able to show their constituents that they are listening and working on their behalf. And so I think that respect is owed to everybody on the horseshoe. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. My only reservation with this one is on the it doesn't state if there was noise complaints prior, and if they were handled. And I understand we're gonna have a lot of rigs out here, they're noisy, and my reservation is us leaving, it's just very open-ended on if they had noise complaints in the past, did they fix them? Did they hear them? Did they build the barricades? Did we go out there and test it and then identify from there? So that's my only reservation, is that one paragraph. And I'm stating that openly to see if maybe we can consider, not just if they had complaints in the past, but if they had complaints that were not adhered to. That's my only comment on that. Thank you, President.
Okay, Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move to table this resolution for now. And I'll speak on it if you.
Okay, did you?
I don't know what button.
Okay, well, this was amended by Commissioner Young to table this, and seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. Okay, that be the case?
May I say one? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. So, with great thanks to the support from Commissioner Jackson, who spoke eloquently about standing up for our constituents, we've had some really positive discussions recently about this issue, and we're hopeful to move forward in a way that will yield a quick compromise and bring satisfaction to our constituents quickly. And because of that, I want to sort of hold some of our firepower back for a future date if it's needed, and then we can discuss it further at that time. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
I wasn't privy to the conversation, but I do just want to say, I don't think you would have gotten to that compromise. Or do you think you would have gotten to the compromise without this proposal? Okay. I'm just trying to show that this is what we do. Is we come down here, we put legislation on the table. And so the conversation started because you put something on the table. And so I don't care whether you table it or not. This is yours. But as a legislator, as a commissioner, council member, whatever, our goal is to legislate. And that's what this process is all about. And so I'm glad y'all got to whatever compromise y'all had to get to. I still want to, when other folks have their issues, that we support them, because it is something that is important to their constituents in their district. So I don't want that to be left out, even though we're agreeing to table this. It's not mine, so I really don't care. Thank you.
Okay, that in mind, we will move on. Mr. Clerk.
As a point of clarification, could we get a date certain to postpone to?
My understanding was tabling did not require a date.
So you want to?
I don't want to postpone it to a date. I want to table it
indefinitely.
That's what I needed. It's just a clarification.
It'll be on the
that.
table.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, it's taken off the table. Mr. Clerk.
Got to vote on it, don't we? Here we go.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Young and seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. Let's vote.
All right, and that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. That brings us then to Resolution 16 of 2023, which is a resolution to authorize the Caddo Parish Administrator to request and authorize the Louisiana State Mineral and Energy Board and the Office of Mineral Resources to accept nominations and advertise for oil, gas, and mineral leases, accept bids, and award and execute oil, gas, and mineral leases on certain mineral interests owned by the Parish of Caddo and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Epperson.
Did the makers and the second want to speak?
Well, I didn't see anybody under the speakers but you.
I don't know what it is. I'm just trying to move us along.
So, to the administration, I see you all labeled here. Where are those properties located? What's the locations of these tracts?
Check and see.
Those are in districts 8 and 9, just for reference.
Do you know the location of those leases?
Alamo is in 8.
Yes, sir. Those are in District 8 and 9, right off of East Kings Highway, just right south of there, near
South of
the.
East Kings Highway?
Yes, sir. South of town in District, as you're leaving District 8, and then in District 9.
Is that, further down from LSUS?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Rural area?
That's correct.
What's that nice subdivision over in there, Providence?
Provenance is on the other side. That's the Haven down in that direction.
Okay, the Haven is in that direction?
It's further south than the Haven, yes, sir.
And how far is that from the Dixie Garden?
Oh, that's
Pretty
that's quite a ways down, yes,
Now,
sir.
who has District 8 and 9?
District 8 is
District 9?
Commissioner Cawthorn and.
Did you notice whether those
Commissioner-
areas that they are contemplating are heavily populated?
They're not, no, sir.
Densely populated?
No, sir. They're very rural areas, and this is just, they taking the royalties from the parish properties from that area.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Ken, I'm looking at this map, I see some houses on this map.
Sorry?
I see houses on this map here.
Yeah, there's residents down there, but it's very sparse down that area.
Oh, look pretty dense to me, but okay.
Okay.
Ain't mine.
You're not looking at the map we're looking at. We're looking at
It's the whole neighborhood.
subdivision.
Well, that's those are some city subdivisions in that area too. Those are where they have private roads, right there off of Kings Highway as you're coming down by the, what is that, by the sewage plant down that area.
Just comment, Mr. Jackson's correct. This map does show
I understand.
quite a bit.
Okay.
Hey, man, they're gonna be hollering at somebody when they start up.
Well,
Okay, it's been
I'm
motion.
due.
I'm sorry.
You do?
Any other
Whole neighborhood.
comments or requests?
I can't imagine they fit one in there.
Okay, if not, we have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Johnson. We can vote.
And that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. That brings us now to resolution number 17 of 2023, a resolution opposing the passage of House Bill 25 relative to library board appointments and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Epperson.
I spoke on this Monday, and then I spoke previously, I think, at the meeting prior to Monday's work session in March. This is an issue that basically alarms not only me, but a number of citizens. Mr. Is our librarian, I want to say Mr. Tulp came down. He spoke about it, gave the position of the Library Association in which they are members of. This is it's a national thing, and I think we got more issues than to interfere with a process that has been working well for us as local governments. I spoke with my city council person today because we both do board members on the library board, and I think the citizens of this parish just passed a 10-year tax renewal for the operations and staffing of the library, and I think that should stay within our purview. And I would ask for your support. Thank you.
Okay, with that in mind, we can vote.
All right, and that motion carries with 9 in support, 3 in opposition. That brings us to the next item, which is resolution number 18 of 2023. It's a resolution opposing the passage of Senate Bill 7 relative to library board policies and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Motion by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson.
No, this is just a good little game to play, see who can be first.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get past that game and vote.
And that motion carries with 8 in support, 4 in opposition, and none absent. That brings us now to resolution number 19 of 2023. That is a resolution urging and requesting the Louisiana legislature to repeal state law authorizing and providing for daylight savings time in Louisiana and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Motion to adopt.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jackson and seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Jackson?
Gotta be quick on your fingers,
Are you good?
fingertips.
Okay, okay, it's one of those quick finger things. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just had a quick question. I think I proposed this resolution once before. I have? Okay.
Wait, just for, yes, as a point of information, I believe this body did adopt a similar resolution a few years ago.
Okay.
And this is kind of an updated request of that.
All right, thank you. That's it, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Chavez.
No, you can remove me.
All right, Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. All due respect to my colleague, Commissioner Chavez. I just, if we want to ask the country to not adopt daylight savings time, then I'm okay with that. But I just don't want us to be one of the few states that is on a different time zone than most of the other states for half the year. When you're going from Marshall to Jackson, you'd have to change your clock, on I-20. So it just doesn't. Maybe it's a protest to the system, but just tactically, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Was that a motion to address this to Congress and not just to the state?
No, it was a general statement. I'm not actually going to make a motion to that. Thank you. I'm done.
Commissioner Lazarus.
I just wanted to know how Commissioner Jackson and Commissioner Gage Watts get the high-speed pads. I don't even see it up there, and they've already motioned and seconded. That's all. Thank you, sir.
You never can tell. He's a tricky one.
It's like that State Farm commercial.
All right, Commissioner Jackson.
Quick on your fingers. I do, in this conversation, I just realized, I don't have a problem with this, but I don't know that is there a reason why there's nothing attached to you? Or is it just me?
No, there should be something attached.
I just want to make sure ain't nothing there that should raise any alarms or bells. But
let's see.
The resolution isn't attached.
Yeah, I will say, I wonder if perhaps there was some server maintenance that was the system with the shared drive was down, and it may have been stored there. Would you like me to just send a copy around? We can just send a copy around.
As long as we're not voting on anything that's going to, turn Woody into a unicorn, I'm good. Yeah.
He's short timer anyway.
I'm good. Just if you're gonna send it around, I just noticed it wasn't attached, so just.
Well, thank you. We will we'll send that, and I believe it may have been attached to your agenda the other day. Okay. But we will resend the actual text of it.
Are we ready, Mr. President?
Commissioner Epperson.
Just a point of information, the House has passed this on the federal level, and the only holdup is the Senate. Don't care what we do down here. They got the double-edged sword. Thank you.
Okay, someone else was there but blanked out, but that's
Came
good.
off Commissioner Epperson, addressed what I was concerned about.
Okay, well, great. All right, we can vote?
All right, and that carries with 10 in support, 1 in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us now to old business, where there is one item listed, I believe, the recognition of Colonel Paris Davis.
Move to advance this to the 20th regular session.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, but I think we got some quick fingers because I got a motion by Commissioner Johnson and seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts.
To the 20th.
Since my name was on there, I overrode it verbally.
Not on here.
He's pulling seniority.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson and seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. All right, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. And that brings us now to new business, where you have, the first item is authorizing an RFP for a small business development program. This is the one that is referred to in the American Rescue Plan Fund.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you. This is, money has already been set aside, but because of the allotted amount has to go through an RFP process per the Treasury guidelines. I do think that it should be a loan fund and not a grant. And so I do want to put that on the record, is that it would be a revolving loan, and that whomever, however we craft the RFP, that the prevailing recipient would be able to, they're not just using the parish funds, they're able to leverage their own funds. And so if somebody gets a loan for I'm just using simple math, $5,000, whatever CDFI or entity or whoever puts in something that makes it $10,000. So I think that's the only way that's going to make it stretch and make it work, is that they have to put skin in the game as well. So, and I would like to emphasize local, if we have local folks who can do this as well. So would love to see the RFP, if the commission can get a draft of the RFP as well. So thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Let's vote.
All right, and that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. That brings us now to adopting the 2023 audit plan. And it looks like that item is not attached either, though it was attached on your agenda the other day.
There's no question about it. We'll go ahead and move it.
It was recommended by the audit board, by the audit committee, audit and finance committee.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Gage Watts, second by Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Epperson.
Okay, we mentioned something about, Mr. Chavez, you mentioned about IT being scrutinized to see where we are.
That's the next one, Commissioner.
It's on, okay, because I did hear, I thought I heard you say that you mentioned something, this came out in the audit report, so with that,
Yes.
okay. So there's no problem with go with this like it is, right? That would be addressed what you're talking
Yes, sir.
about?
I would think so.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
I just don't see the plan, so how we gonna vote on something we don't see?
I can send a link for it right now.
We can tell you which ones to.
As the chair of that committee, we could probably comment on that.
Okay, the chairperson of the committee?
Well, I might.
That's you.
I know, I was gonna say, if I may, and I'm gonna turn to Haley and ask Haley she can tell us what the audit plan is. I've forgotten
Would that be
exactly.
appropriate, because you're the one bringing the question?
I have it
Mr.
open if
Johnson?
you like.
Okay.
If Haley's got it open either.
Okay.
I think it needs to be said what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not on the agenda. And we
But I'm asking, would
voting
that
it
be
blind.
adequate for you?
Yeah,
if they
that'd
would
be
do that?
part of the minutes.
Okay.
As long as it's said, it's
Go ahead,
verbatim.
Mr. Clerk or Ms. Haley, whoever would like to read it off.
I'll go for it. It's got the Caddo Parish 2023 internal audit plan. It is a list of 2 recommendations. The first recommendation is finance and the department being licenses, occupational insurance, beer and liquor, amusement devices. So it would be an audit of that function. The second recommendation is human resources, the employee recruitment, selection, onboarding, and offboarding processes. And that's the end of the recommendation.
Good. Okay, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us now to discussing network safety of certain mobile apps on Caddo Parish equipment.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Chavez and seconded by Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Chavez?
Sure, and my motion's gonna be to pull this from the agenda, and I have my second, and the reason being is, talk to Dr. Wilson, President, just in the terms of security for Caddo Parish, rather than discuss it here. I know you yourself and myself are on the technology committee, so he offered for us to come upstairs and talk with Tracy next week, and we'll discuss that. So,
Okay, Commissioner Epperson, is that on that one?
If you would be amenable, I'd like to make a substitute motion that we would direct our IT department and the administrations to do an evaluation of our network security process and discuss it with interested commissioners and bring it back to this body on our April 20th meeting.
I second that.
Okay, well,
Would you like to comment on that?
Dr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. We've already done that. Commissioner Epperson?
Good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I withdraw.
Yeah, that's what we said.
You know,
earlier.
and
The
if we
A&F
can
committee, it went through there.
have some one-on-one
And we-
conversation with that, would be preferable to us as opposed to a group discussion.
So,
We good?
But we have done that.
We want to withdraw this?
yeah, you can withdraw my second.
Okay, so we have a, we have a motion by Commissioner Chavez and a second by Commissioner Jones to actually withdraw it. Was that the motion? Okay, Commissioner Gage Watson, is that on this particular topic?
I'll just address the issues directly to Dr. Wilson.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yeah, that was the only thing I was gonna say, because when we talk about information technology and security, that's the last thing we wanna do is expose whatever we have in place. Because the thing is, again, there are so many people out there just waiting to get any additional information that they can to intercede or interrupt your information technology. So I think, as Dr. Wilson said and others around this horseshoe, it would be better that the IT supervisor and whoever choose to select it get on a one-on-one and not necessarily do it publicly.
Okay, we can vote.
We're voting on removing.
Removing it.
Okay.
Okay, and that motion carries with 11 in support, none in opposition, and 1 absent. I believe that now brings us to the case that you have before you today that is,
Property
that's
standards.
accepting the recommendations of the Property Standards Hearing Board. The motion was made in your Monday meeting to advance this. The recommendations, it is listed all as one motion that you would accept, though should you choose to single out a case or separate the cases, that's your right.
Okay, so did we skip 20.3 or did I miss it? I thought, okay, I thought that was 20.2, okay, 20.3. All right, motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Young. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I just want to make sure that at the end of 30 days on case number 3, that we get a follow-up. Because if it's not cleaned up, it needs to be torn down.
Okay, Commissioner Carlson.
That was also my recommendation as well, because the 30-day follow-up that we found out in the committee meeting.
Commissioner Jones.
Yeah, I thought we talked about that in the committee meeting, that we've already put that in place, that they're all gonna do a 30-day follow-up, and they're supposed to be reporting that back.
Okay. Sometimes it lags a little bit. I want
Yes,
to make
sir.
sure that
Yeah, I
it's
understand,
important.
but I think we did put emphasis on it, to make sure that the follow-up happened, that they give us a report back as to what happened at the end of 30 days.
Okay, Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Clerk, could you go ahead and schedule us a tentative meeting for, I guess it's about 27 days from now, for a property standards follow-up about this particular item? Thank you.
If that's the only issue, we can do that in this meeting.
Okay, with that in mind, we can vote.
And that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent. That brings us now to the Caddo Animal Services Board appeal. And if you will, you have attached the request for appeal, some background information, and the case report here. So if you are ready at this time, if the appellant is here, or is that, if y'all could make your way up. And so typically in these, you know, we will have, you know, there will be a statement of the case, and then the appellant will have an opportunity to speak. And then there'll be a chance for the Caddo animals control to speak and an opportunity for questions.
Okay, all right, how you doing, commissioners? I'm going,
Point of information, do we need to, since this is an appeal, does this need to be, the witnesses sworn in before? I guess is the question.
It doesn't look like it's been handled, it doesn't look like it has been sworn in the past.
Okay, that's fine.
But it certainly doesn't hurt to.
All right, who want to do
Well,
that?
if we haven't done it in the past, then
We're not going to do it if you're going to do it now. Well, the attorney there, do you need to swear him in?
You don't have to.
Okay, we're good.
just want to be sure.
right. Okay, good afternoon, commissioners. I'm going to run through this really quick because the narrative for this case for Mr. Walker is pretty lengthy by my officer, so I'm going to break it down real quick. So, once again, the way this board works, Mr. Walker, animal yak, attacked a neighbor. Our officers responded. This is the dog's second time biting, but the first bite was in-house. This time it was at large. So typically what happens, the actual dog owner has 10 days to appeal the process. That's when the board convenes at Animal Services. So the dog was deemed vicious. It was downgraded to dangerous by the board, which the board has no ruling with our department for conflict of interest. So the dog got ruled down to dangerous. One of the conclusions was to have the dog neutered. But Mr. Walker wants to appeal having his dog neutered. So once he appeals, it comes down to the commission body. So he had 3 days. He sent it to Mr. Everson, and this is where we are. So basically, a quick little synopsis of what happened. His dog was at large, and the neighbor went to put the dog back in the fence, Mr. Walker's fence. This is Mr. Morgan, which is still hospitalized from the dog bite. That's why he's not present. And I don't have any of the board members here. So what happened, he went to put the dog back into the containment. The camera shows footage up until the dog attacked. So we don't know what happened from that point forward. So, but he's here to appeal getting his animal neutered. So I will, unless you have any questions for me, before you all talk to Mr. Walker or have him come to the microphone.
Okay, Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Mr. Samuel. So the board, in lieu of deeming him a dangerous dog or a vicious dog, they downgraded to dangerous?
Right. So what happens, myself or Travis, once we get the case, based on the severity of the bite, this is a pretty bad bite, we deemed it vicious. Vicious means humane euthanasia. It doesn't go back. So the board actually allowed Mr. Walker to talk. That's what we do. And they downgraded it to a dangerous, meaning he can get his dog back, follow all the stipulations for a dangerous dog, the collar, the muzzle, the fencing inspection, everything that comes along that requires him to maintain. If he gets rid of the dog, he's got to notify Caddo Parish Animal Services. So there's a whole lot of stipulations for containing a dangerous dog. But Mr. Walker is here because he doesn't want his dog neutered in this process. And that was one of the stipulations from the board, to have Yak, which is the dog's name, neutered.
Gotcha. So
Right.
you guys deemed it vicious, but the board overruled yours. And
Right,
if
and
yours
brought it-
would have stuck, he would have been euthanized.
Right, absolutely.
So there was a great concession already made.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Okay.
All right.
President, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Hopkins.
So, Mr. Samuels, if the dog was neutered, y'all will release him.
Yes.
That's correct?
Yes, when the dog is neutered, we will release him once the fence inspection is conducted,
Okay.
that this dog will not escape again.
So we've got a mandatory spade and neuter law now. So why is there a question?
Well, the
on an
question,
appeal?
well, he appealed it because
Okay.
I guess his biggest thing is the honest escape clause. It's the second time, I guess, bite, but he's appealing the neutering. That's why we're here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, he has a right to appeal it, so. More questions?
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to state our public policy about this question, which is we have too many dogs and cats in our parish, so broadly speaking, we need to have them neutered so that they don't overpopulate. In this specific case, this dog's got too many hormones that make it too aggressive, and he doesn't seem like he meets any of the exceptions to our law to me. And I bet he'll be better behaved if he's neutered. And if I had been hospitalized by this dog, I would be pitching a fit if he came home in the same condition. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
Well, my thoughts weren't on that level. What are the stipulations? What are the stipulations that they put in place?
Say it again, sir.
What are the stipulations that they put in place besides the neutering? What
So,
other stipulations?
so the other stipulations would be if he was going to rehome the dog, he had to notify Caddo Parish. If the dog is outside of the residence, it has to be muzzled. It has to be hand to leash to dog. He has to pay an annual fine. It has to wear a dangerous dog collar, and it has to have a Caddo Parish Animal Services placard dangerous dog on the fence.
All that
All that,
plus the neutering.
plus the neuter.
Okay. And what about the fence area? Does it need to be shored up? fixed?
Yes, it needs to be. Right now, Mr. Walker, he basically admitted that his fence, his dog Yak, basically climbed over an 8-foot fence. So it says 48 feet minimum, or 4 feet minimum to containment. But if your animal can clear a 4 feet, then obviously you need to go higher.
Right.
So he did not disagree with the fact that his animal climbed the fence to escape. So in this case, he'll have to put a top over it,
All right.
on top of the other stipulations that I gave you.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Carlson.
Just for clarity, second bite, spayed, neuter, returns home, do we have any liability?
Once we return it home, our liability is, basically, once we go out and conduct, which I'll have one of my officers go out and conduct a fence inspection, right? Once we do everything with the stipulations of what he needs to have required to contain this animal, we're golden. And the last part of our duties is to make sure that fence is to contain this animal if it's ever outside of his house. The rest is if it's contained again and brought back to Animal Services, it goes straight to vicious, no questions.
Okay, so all these things must be done prior to the
Prior
dog
to, right, prior to that dog going back to his residence. And the appeal right now, once again, is Mr. Walker doesn't want his dog neutered. That's why we're here. Any more questions before? Okay.
Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I was going to make a motion, but I saw a motion already on the floor from Young and Commissioner Cawthorn. So is that a motion for this?
Unless it's a substitute motion, it's going to be different from the one that's already on the floor, I would assume.
We would need to let Mr. Walker speak first
Yeah.
before we make a decision.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know if that was a motion on the floor already. So I'll yield because I think Commissioner Watson wanted to speak.
That's a motion on the floor, as I understand it. Okay.
We don't have a motion because no.
Just to hear the case.
Yeah. Just for discussion.
Okay, we're in discussion, then we're in discussion.
Okay. More questions for me?
Yes.
Okay.
I do, Mr.
Commissioner
President.
Gage-Watt.
Thank you. Director Samuel, you said that if this dog bites again, then he will be labeled as a vicious animal, vicious dog. What happens from that point?
Yes, ma'am. Once we go out and conduct our fence inspection, if it's declared to go back to his property and it somehow gets out and bite again and it comes back, it's automatically vicious. It gets humanely euthanized.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second on
gotta hear the-
hearing, so we got, okay.
Yeah, bring the pillar up.
I'm gonna do that. I was just repeating that we do
Okay.
have a motion on the floor.
Okay.
Okay,
Mis-
anyone else?
Anyone else for me before Mr. Walker comes up?
Motion. All right.
All right.
Opposing view.
Hey, my name is Jalen Walker. I wanted to appeal this decision because the neighbor has a history of antagonizing my dog. I have videos, proof. That's the reason why they changed their first initial decision from vicious to dangerous because of the proof that I have of him messing with the dog. Every time he thinks no one is home, he goes back there, his yard, and he likes to bring his dogs up to my gate. They even come on to our property, and he just likes to let the dogs bark and fight through the gates and stuff like that. The reason why I got another 8-foot pen built inside of the gate already was to keep that from happening.
Did you show them the video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yak is an inside dog. I only let him out to use the restroom and to eat. And that's when the man likes to bother him. He thinks no one is home, but I'm home. I'm always back there with them whenever I let them out. And, but just for this particular day, I let him out. I put him inside his kennel. I just went to go pick up my brother from from work, and that's when that incident transpired. And with the first in-house bite, it was the same situation. The man was antagonizing the dog. My brother went out there to go and try to cool down him, but he scared him, and he turned around, and it was like a quick bite. He let him go, and my mother here just thought it would be best for him to go to the hospital, and that's when they sent the report out. But for the most part, I keep him inside. I will get concrete laid down, and I will cover up the pen, but for the most part, he does stay inside the house. I just don't want him neutered because I don't want him to be depressed and sad and stuff like that, and that will also mess with his hormones. And he does have hip dysplasia a little bit, and that'll bring more health problems with him being neutered. I do not plan on breeding him or anything like that. And the reason the incident happened in the first place, the man tried to once the dog got out, he tried to go put him back up, but his sister was inside the gate too, and that's where the man was trying to open the gate. So the dog only bit him thinking he was trying to do something to his sister, the female dog. That's the only reason. The man was able to walk around the whole house, and nothing happened to him. He walked with the dog around the whole house. Once he got to the gate, that's when the man bit him. That's when the dog bit the man. The dog, he's a guard dog. But he stays in the house. That's just his natural thing was, once a person comes to this gate and messes with his sister or anyone else, that's his first instinct is to bite. But he did not bite the man. He did not go out just to bite the man or anything like that. But I don't really have much else to say if you guys have any questions.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for coming down, Mr. Walker, stating your case. My biggest concern is kind of seems to be like a pattern of behavior, just from the outside looking in with the little information that I have. And I guess I would need to hear from Mr. Singles as well. If we have proof that there has been some antagonizing, how do we handle that when you have two neighbors who both have pets and he's using his pets to antagonize the neighbor's pets?
Okay, so Mr. Walker did provide video of Mr. Morgan with his animals at large. So I will add to the particular case, Mr. Morgan's animals are at CPAS as well. Okay. Because during the incident, his animals was out, he put them in a car, rolled the window up with no water, no food. So we seized his animals as well. He can reclaim his animals once he's released from the hospital. But for him antagonizing his animals, if we would have got a call out about it, we try to make sure we educate neighbors and talk about it large, antagonizing animals, what that can lead to. But in this particular case, we didn't hear that until this particular accident happened, and we got to review aftermath. Okay. This is what happened after the fact. Yes, but we did see a video of it.
Okay, thank you. Next question, Mr. Walker. I've noticed that you said you're not concerned about breeding him or anything like that. Do you have the expert opinion of a veterinarian saying that him being neutered will cause these problems that you're concerned about?
No,
or
sir.
this is just your personal opinion that you think this could possibly happen?
This
if
is
he's
my
neutered?
personal opinion, and plus when you look at him, you can kind of see his deformities. And he's a male dog, so he needs his hormones, and I'm pretty sure that will bring more health problems. But then again, I'm not an expert.
Yes, sir. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone this to our next meeting where we can actually see the video, and by that time the other guy will be out of the hospital hopefully, and we can be able to hear both sides plus see the video.
Okay, it's been motion and second, like there's a substitute motion. Motion by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Young. Good. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. I have a question for Samuel Kelvin. The other dogs that are now at CPOS custody, what breeds are those?
One is like a mixed terrier and the other one is a black lab.
Okay, so per our own law, are they about to get neutered as well?
Well, Mr. Morgan signed his surgery consent forms to have those dogs neutered.
Because that's our law.
Right. So, of course, when we put this pilot program out, and we always talk about it's running to 2024, we were going to educate the public, right? But if you get an offense to where we come to your property, then we start talking about spay neuter, but we're not knocking door to door. That was our whole push for this thing starting out. So now, for us, Mr. Morgan, he agreed to have his animals spayed and neutered. He has a female and a male. So,
okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And Attorney Frazier, so I understand that we're hearing an appeals case, but I feel like we're gonna if we do appeal this and hold up and side with Mr. Walker, then we're voting against our own parish laws. Am I correct in thinking that way?
That is what it sounds like to me. Your law right now is that pets have to be spayed or neutered. I do think, however, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Samuel, there is a fee that can be paid for an intact dog.
Yes, females 150, 100 for males, but he did make the statement that he's not breeding his animal, so
the exception wouldn't apply in that particular case. Also, too, I think it's important to understand that the dangerous dog is not required to be neutered. It's in the discretion of animal control, and then the board
and then the
upheld
right.
the ruling of the animal control officer.
Right. We made the notion to have it neutered. The board held our decision, and that's what we are. Once again, to have it neutered.
I'm going to wrap up my comment because there's a motion on the floor. I fear for Mr. Walker, if we don't uphold the board, you could lose your dog. If the dog gets out again, it will automatically get destroyed. I mean, that's what's on the table. I personally have a dog, and he's neutered, and I had to get him neutered because of a reason. The vet thought if he didn't, he was going to have a bladder issue. So it was a benefit, and his demeanor came out a lot better. I fear if we do not uphold the board's decision that you could lose your dog, and that's my fear in this scenario. I would rather see you have your dog than not. That's all, President.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson for the second time.
Yes, I guess my other question, based upon what we talked about spayed and neutered, I think it got watered down so much that if it's a purebred dog, that it didn't have to be mandatory. Am I right or wrong? Because I mentioned about, it was talked about mixed breeds and all that. So basically, it came down to mixed breeds instead of purebred dogs. Because that was one of the concerns I had when we started that.
I think.
And then it has to do with size and age and all that too.
It's the purebred is if those dogs are being shown. They're
right,
not
AKC.
Just if you own them. If it's a show dog.
Right, AKC or UKC.
Competes.
Right. Or if it's a police dog.
Okay, what about the age and the size?
The age got voted back in because I think someone bred Great Pyrenees and other large breed dogs that I guess the ABM study said that if you tamper with them younger than 6 months, that it messes with their bone density and growth and hip displacement. So we added that as well.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Jones.
Okay, this is my last concern.
Second time.
So I understand that he has boarding fees and all that he has to take care of, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
If we postpone this, does that continue to climb again? Because according to this, it stops until the appeal is heard.
Right.
So that we would basically be postponing the appeal, so he'll be getting more boarding fees on top of that, right?
Right.
Okay. And you mentioned something, Attorney Frazier, about, so the dangerous dog is not required, but it's at their discretion. The vicious dog, regardless, would have to be neutered.
Oh, the vicious
No,
dog
vicious
is
dog is
euthanized.
humanely
Euthanized, okay.
euthanized, right, and
Okay.
that's what it was deemed initially.
Okay.
And the
okay.
board voted it down to dangerous.
Okay. All right, that's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, Attorney Frazier?
Oh, no, I did.
Okay, we good. Let's, the motion is, okay, Commissioner Chavez. Back on the board?
I'd like to make a substitute amendment, a substitute motion that we uphold the board's decision.
Second.
Okay, that's a substitute motion by Commissioner Chavez and seconded by Commissioner Young. Commissioner Gage, why?
Well, Mario made the motion, he has opportunity to speak first.
I worry about this young man's dog. I worry if he gets out again, he won't have him anymore. And I would rather the scenario of a neuter dog with a more milder demeanor and him still having his beloved dog than the other scenario. I'd hate to see him lose his dog. So I'll be voting to uphold the board's decision. Thank you, President.
Okay, Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. You all know that dogs are very important in our family, but I agree with Commissioner Chavez. Our dog, our Doberman Pinscher, is spay, and she's she's the same dog she's always was, and I would hate to, I would much rather see you, sir, maintain your dog after being neutered than run the risk of something happening and him being euthanized down the road. And so, I think you'll still love your dog equally whether he's neutered or not neutered. And I think that it's much safer for him to be neutered, much safer for the dog and perhaps the people. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, with that in mind, we can vote. And what would, Mr. Clerk, we state that this young man, I know that that's what you recommended, but I don't know if he said yes or no. I guess it doesn't matter because we're voting. Mr. Clerk, want to repeat it?
So the motion on the floor right now is a substitute motion to uphold the decision of the Animal Services Board?
That's correct. Okay, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 9 in support, 2 in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us now to citizens' comments, which was moved to this location on the agenda. So this is citizens' comments, late arrivals.
Okay. Get on the board. If not, I'm gonna make, instead of my presidential report, I do have a couple of things that I held to the end.
Have any late comments?
Okay, I don't have any late
So the
comments.
citizens wouldn't have to wait. Now, may I make a, we good? Citizens comment, late arrivals now. We
Well-
have none?
I've not received any
Okay.
requests. Are there any
Okay.
requests for citizens' comments?
And so now we will go to 21.
So now that brings us to 21, which is the commission will convene into executive session.
So move, Mr. President.
Second.
And if I might,
Got the name, we're gonna stay. Got the name.
right, okay, that's what I was gonna do. Like the parish attorney, the administrator, assistant administrator, and the administrative clerk I would like for her to be to leave the chamber. No, I got Ms. Frazier, then, right. Everyone else clear the chamber.
Would you go check with the control room and just make sure that